Hello, my name is Shah Ali, and this is a short but important video to do with relationships and communication. After working with hundreds and hundreds of clients, I can definitely tell you this is the best way to rapidly improve your relationship. Dialogue skills with your partner. At the end of the day, that's what we do. We talk to our partner, we build connection. So, what was dialogue happening at the beginning of the relationship? Well, you basically were in a state of bliss and there were a lot of chemicals happening. You were in the honeymoon or romantic stage. The topics or what the person said didn't really matter. It was all about the connection. You just flowed. You felt connected. Then we had dialogue downfall. Over time, issues and struggles occurred, and we obviously had arguments about them. We were finding out about our partner, and in some ways, we didn't agree about certain things. If we had problematic, maladapted ways to deal with that from the past, then these arguments or these conversations could become emotionally, mentally, or physically abusive. So, over time, when our partner annoyed and argued with us, we tended to associate their voice, the way they looked at us, certain movements, even certain topics they started to want to talk about as a threat to our state of happiness. And when we're under threat, we typically get defensive or pull away. And obviously, this even makes our partner more annoyed because they want to talk about things, they want to resolve things. So, what the studies have showed that every negative conversation is equal to 5 positive conversations. So it doesn't really take much to activate this threat response. If you are having a very great relationship, but then you drop into a negative conversation, it can derail the whole process. And during these negative conversations, our subconscious is starting to anchor and starting to put in information into the subconscious about the threat that's happening. It could be connecting with the voice, the hand signals, the pointing, whatever it is. All these things are being anchored in the subconscious. So, how do we deal with threats? Basically, we spent thousands of years dealing with threats like wild animals. I mean, that was if you go back in history, that was a significant part of human survival. And to deal with a wild animal, this required, to either fight or run as fast as we can. So when we're fighting with our partner now, it can start to activate some of those responses. The characteristics of fighting a wild animal are you don't care about what pain you're inflicting to them. You just want to stop the fight, or you want to get away. So you're hitting them with full force. You're not holding back. You're not caring about the impact you're causing. If there's other noise around you, you sort of try to isolate yourself from being distracted and just focus on the threat. You're not worrying about the noise, what the animal is doing. It's just about attacking them. Obviously, your heart will start racing, you breathe faster, and you feel a rush of blood. You are definitely not calm, and you are definitely in full fight mode or flight mode. You can even go into freeze as well. Some ways that is just hiding. If you are in this fight and then you find that there is an escape route, you will then decide to take it. So, okay, you've damaged the animal enough, then you start to make a run for it. So how does that look? when you're talking to your partner. Obviously, you're not listening to them. You're moving away from them. You're avoiding them. You're hurting them. And what are the ways forward then if we've identified this as an issue? Well, the first one is therapy. It's basically going to the source and working on the issues in the deeper mind. This tends to be the fastest way to deal with the conflict pattern. Therapy involves dissolving the anchors. They're the things I talked about where you start to associate the voice, the partner, the topic as a threat. Previous arguments may still be running in our mind, so it's good to resolve them and make sure they're safe and over. And we also want to reframe our mindset and move towards the growth mindset rather than being a victim from this. So there are many therapies to do this. This is using visualization, imagination. It starts to go in your deeper mind to reconnect a positive feeling with your partner. And in some ways, over many years, that is really the go-to solution. But it's not all about the subconscious mind, obviously. There's, it's important to talk about it, to discuss what's happening, what you're feeling, go through the issues, look at the blind spots. This is where couple counseling provides a safe space to discuss this. You can also do role playing where we identify the patterns that are coming through. It's in a controlled environment, so that there's someone there to stop each of you being re-triggered. The final step is coaching. So without practice, even if you've gone to the source and changed it, you can regress back to this default communication. So it will go back into subconscious. So look, we look at coaching as a way to create a structured process around this, keep people accountable, understand what the resistance is, and give a plan around it as well. So coaching is the final step, and the whole three components of therapy, counseling, and coaching are combined with how I deal with couples. In summary, therapy looks what's underneath the surface due to the past and changes it. Counseling is more to do with how you're coping in the present, giving you tools to deal with the symptoms. And coaching is ongoing work to keep improving. So past, present, and future. Part of the coaching and the therapy looks at SMART goals. So what are SMART goals? It's an acronym for specific, measurable, affect, which is like emotion, realistic, and time. So through the process I work with couples, we look at creating SMART goals. We do therapy, we do counseling, and then as part of the coaching, we create SMART goals. So look, for the dialogue, it would be about being specific. The goal, instead of just being general, like I want harmony in the relationship, it gets converted to something specific, like I want to talk relationally to my partner, and this is the way that looks like. I'm curious, I listen, I reiterate what I heard, I empathize with them, I allow myself to understand the triggers, I regulate my emotions, I handle it in a mature way. So we're looking at being more specific about what connection means, what communication means. And then from this statement, we talk about it, we understand it, what the problematic issues are, then we make it measurable. Okay, at the moment, 5 out of 10 conversations are going to a rupture. We're going to abuse, we're shouting, we're screaming, we're walking off. So we want to move to where, we have difficult conversations, but they don't end in a 1, they end in a 10, where we're still connected with the partner and we're resolving them. We want to also create positive conversations with our partner in a 5-to-1 ratio. So look, we just don't talk about difficult conversations, difficult topics. We look at examining topics that connect us with our partner to create a love bank, and that's important as well. And like I mentioned, affect is what psychologists use for emotion. If the goals, if we're just doing this because the therapist told us to do it, the coach told us to do it, and if it works, doesn't work, well, big deal. We need to really understand how important this is to the relationship. This is a game breaker. If you're not communicating to the level that what we call masters do, then it will typically lead to separation, or you'll just stay in the marriage and it won't be where you want it to be. You'll do other things, you'll create parallel lives. So putting emotion behind this goal is a huge component. The R part of SMART is realistic. Realistic means, can it be achieved by a human being? Well, obviously, this is realistic. If you work with a therapist, a coach, counselor, you can achieve these things, even if you've got addictions, personality disorders, a lack of commitment, whatever it is. There's all these 3 components to help you make it realistic. You may think it is. You may be at a point where you think it's totally unrealistic. My partner will never change, and that that's a red flag, and we have to go there and unpack that. The final part is time. Give it time for this to occur. You don't want to do a session once every 6 months, because definitely it's too random. You want to structure. You want to say, okay, in this month, I'm going to do 4 sessions. I'm going to work at improving the way I communicate with my partner. I'm going to monitor it. I'm going to give a deadline. I'm going to focus on improving this. Maybe if it's high abuse, getting it down to, like, at least we can talk about it. We've got structures to have timeouts. We can, if it does go pear-shaped, we can talk to the counselor and we can work through this. So definitely time, and our mind works better with deadlines as well. If it's just, well, we'll get around with it, it will be a long haul, right? You need to make this concise. You need to focus on it. The other part of SMART goals is conflict. And with any goal, if you logically understand it but still can't achieve it, then there possibly is stuff happening in the unconscious mind, the deeper mind. And this is where we use more therapy to see what is happening there. For instance, you may have a limiting belief that you're not good enough. So whenever your partner is talking to you, this starts to get activated and all these other emotions come through. You either start to surrender to the belief and just want to walk away, don't want to really work with your partner, try to make excuses, you haven't got time, or you go into fight and then you try to dominate your partner, try to override this belief that I'm not good enough and try to feel superior. So either way, the unconscious belief is going to override your ability to speak relationally. We need to unpack that, and this is a key part of therapy. So it's not just talking about it in counseling or having plans around it. It's to unpack it, and this is the most rapid way to deal with all these sort of issues. just a brief relook at how relationships evolved. I mean, obviously, thousands of years ago, it was just hunting, gathering. We were creating tribes. It was just about survival. Families didn't have many expectations. It was just about, the basics. After that, society got more sophisticated. We moved to more arranged marriages based on culture, society, and the class structure. Tribes would connect by marriage as well. This changed to romance, where the connection was based on love, being in a state of bliss. There was emotional connection. I want to be with this partner because I want love in my life. It's not just about, because it's what everyone else is saying. This is something that I feel important to me. The final evolution is conscious relationship. And this is going into, I'm married to a real person with real issues. I do love them, but sometimes I may even hate them. But it's around then working together, using these tools to move it to where you can help your partner, you work as a team, and that's the current state of a relationship evolution. To create a conscious relationship, we go through this cycle. This goes more in depth when you start doing, the counseling or the therapy. And the key components is we want to remove as much negativity as possible out of the relationship, the leakages. We want to really recommit and define where we are. We want to bring back the love. We want to vision what a relationship is. We want to look at the frustrations and see how we can restructure them. So who am I? I'm a therapist in Australia. I specialize in relationships. Obviously, with relationships, you're dealing with a number of things, PTSD, mental health problems, there's addictions. That's where therapy comes into it as well. I'm also a certified magnetic mind coach with Chris Duncan. So the coaching aspect is important. And Chris used a lot of NLP as well. I'm also part of Rob Kirby's team. And this is where the therapy, the psychotherapy has been developed with him. So Rob Kirby, he developed Coherence 123. He is world-renowned, leading psychotherapist. He was many years in Australia. He's gone back to the US, where he's originally from. I'm part of his global network. He is a backing that will allow me to feed into his network to help anyone who requires help to reach their goals. And it is important. My idea is to use therapy, counseling, and coaching. Sessions in Australia, I'm located in the south coast of New South Wales, so the sessions are typically done over Zoom. I've looked at all the major relationship therapies, Gottman, part therapy, RLT, EFT. There's hundreds of them. We're passionate about learning what the latest ones are. We bring them into our sessions. If you do want a session, if you do want to specifically start to work on what I've talked about, please contact me, book an appointment, go to my website. I'll be happy to work with you. There's lots of things happening this year, so please reach out. I'm part of Combined Coaching Therapies, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.